Zenos regenerates Zofia's entire arm, who is one of the three major forces in the slum. Carmilla belongs to a race that rules the undead. Linga is also part of the three major forces in the slum. And Louis is another of the three major forces in the slum. And the anime begins with a beautiful house, and inside it there is a little elf girl sleeping. She gets up and says good morning to Zenos, and she tells him to wake up to spit. Our protagonist responds with a good morning, and she ties a ribbon in her hair before starting to prepare breakfast. The little elf girl is named Lily. The history of the kingdom of Herzet is directly linked to the healers. Thanks to them, the nation expanded, and GA secured a prominent position. In the hospital, healers learn healing magic and receive a license to begin their journey as a healer. Zenos, however, did not receive formal education and does not have a license to practice healing, as he is from the slums and needs to work as an underground healer. He was expelled from the group of adventurers, and healing those who can afford to pay is his occupation. He heals a man, and Lily praises the work. She asks if he will make a house call, and he confirms, saying he will return at night. She offers to prepare dinner for him. Lily starts preparing dinner, and Carmilla appears, drawn by the smell of the stew. Carmilla is eager to eat. Lily boasts, saying she will be Zenos' wife one day and will continue cooking delicious dishes for him. Carmilla withdraws to rest in the room. Zofia shows up looking for the doctor but finds out he has gone out for a house call. She decides to wait for him. Then Linga also appears looking for Zenos, but Lily informs her that he is not home either. Linga wants to stay and be petted by Zeno while he strokes her tail. Zofia asks why Linga doesn't leave. Louis shows up to have fun, but also discovers that Zenos is not home. Lily says they will eat when he returns and asks if the others also want to have dinner. Everyone agrees, and Lily is excited about the group meal. However, she leaves the room and they start eating the stew, while Zenos hasn't arrived yet. Lily, while washing clothes, wonders if Zenos will return soon. The stew disappears quickly because the three of them ate it, and they decide to make another one so Zenos won't notice they ate everything. When Lily arrives, she catches them in the act. They try to cover it up, but Lily demands an explanation. The three of them say that the stew was so good they couldn't resist. Linga says she really wants Zenos to stroke her tail, and Louis boasts about having a toned body. And the three of them start arguing. Lily says she wanted everyone to eat together, and the three apologize. Carmilla appears irritated, saying that they ate the stew she was eager to savor. Lily explains that there were only enough ingredients for that dinner, and asks the three to bring more ingredients to make the stew again. The three go out in search of the ingredients, and Carmilla asks why Lily wasn't angry with the girls. And Lily responds that she has mercy on people. Carmilla says that if they had taken the drinks, she would have cursed them all. Lily says she prefers to keep the peace and is mature enough to handle these situations. Meanwhile, Zenos, while walking, passes by a woman with rabbit ears. She has a stomachache and tries to go to the hospital, but she doesn't have money, so she is not attended to. A man grabs her by the hair, saying that she is a slave and that a stomachache is not a reason for time off. He takes her to a cemetery and throws her into a grave, saying it's perfect for a filthy demi-human. He starts to assault her, but she scratches his abdomen. An enraged man tries to intimidate her, but a malevolent aura begins to surround the woman. She stands up looking possessed, and the man runs away, calling for Zenos' help. When Zenos arrives, he sees the woman with the malevolent aura and asks the man what happened. The man says she was working in agriculture and shows the wounds, saying she needs medical attention. Without hesitation, Zenos throws the man away, preventing him from being hit by the woman. He asks what happened to her, and she starts attacking, but he dodges the blows and, being hit only on the shield, throws her away. A part of the structure falls in the man's direction. Zenos says he will help the woman, asking her to calm down. She says she is in pain and can't take it anymore, and Zenos realizes that she is possessed. He frees the woman from the evil possession, and she faints. Zenos wonders how she was possessed by a spirit of the dead and dissipates the negative energy. The injured man sees that Zenos is very powerful, as he healed the woman quickly. He asks for help, but Zenos says he has already finished his shift and asks if he can't heal her the next day. The man says he will die if he is not healed soon and offers a larger sum. Zenos warns that the price will be higher, and the man pays in coins. Zenos says that this is not enough and mentions that he is a shadow healer, unlicensed, and charges whatever he wants. He compares his occupation to that of the man who robs graves. The man pretends not to understand, and Zenos says he will take the woman with him to make up for the remaining amount. The man agrees, and Zenos heals him. The rabbit woman wakes up and asks who Zenos is. He introduces himself and says that he bought her. Her name is Chio, and he asks her to take off her clothes to check if she is in good condition. Zenos finds a gallstone that is causing the stomach pain and cures it immediately. She asks what he did, and he says he opened her belly, removed the stone, and closed it. She is surprised because he did all that without enchantment and without cuts. He says that any healer would do that, but she thanks him for the cure. Zenos says he doesn't just want gratitude and that it's time to work. She says she will pay as a slave, but he shows her something in the book and asks her to find it. They go out together and she finds the leaf. Zenos says he has already paid the price and tears up the contract, saying she is free. Chio says she will live to discover what she wants to do now, that she is no longer a slave. They say goodbye, and Zenos says she can look for him whenever she needs healing. Zenos arrives home and Lily greets him. She informs him that the food is not ready yet and the three arrive with the ingredients. He asks what they are doing there, and they say they haven't done anything wrong. Carmilla asks if Zenos met a new girl, and he asks her to stop with that. Lily says she brought a lot of things and that it will be enough to make a feast. Zenos sits on the sofa waiting for dinner, but Lily says she'll make some coffee in the meantime. In the past, a man tosses a gold coin for Zenos to pick up from the ground. He picks up the coin and Aston says it's a reward that someone as poor as him would never see. He thought Aston was his friend, but Aston just laughed at him and said he's as dumb as he was when he was a child. He says that the poor like Zenos are just like cattle, completely disposable. And he says that just because an animal is fed doesn't mean it's part of the group. The group became important thanks to Zenos with his healing magic, but Aston mocks him and says he has no credit for it. And he says they need to make a good impression on the aristocrats. Having a poor person in the group would be terrible. This coin was a farewell gift, a way to shut Zenos up and not say he was part of the Golden Phoenix group. Zenos says it's alright and leaves, and the guys laugh at him. A little elf girl is about to be caught, but she kicks the guy in the groin and runs away. The guy who was going to catch her grabs a bow and shoots an arrow at her leg. She bites the guy's hand and he slashes her with a knife, causing her to fall unconscious. The woman questions why the guy stabbed the merchandise. Zenos arrives at the scene and sees that the child is injured, and the woman says she is merchandise and that he has nothing to do with it. Zenos wants to buy the little girl and offers the gold coin for her. She thinks she is going to die, but Zenos quickly heals her. He tells her that he is a healer and that he removed the arrow, repaired the tissue, and sealed the wounds. She thanks him and says her name is Lily, and asks if he is a famous healer. He introduces himself and says that he doesn't have a license to heal and learned on his own. Zenos offers to buy clothes and food for Lily. She loves food and asks if he isn't going to eat, but he says he's already full, though in reality he just doesn't have any money. He thinks about taking Lily to an orphanage in the slum. She asks what he does for work, and he says he was just expelled from the adventurers group and has nowhere to go. She says she's in the same situation. He says he needs to look for a job, and suddenly a man appears asking for water with an injured arm and a bullet hole in it. Zenos says he can handle it easily despite the hole being deep. It's safe if he includes it in the enchantment, and he heals the guy's arm, who is left confused and asks what Zenos did and who he is. Lily says he's an incredible healer, and the guy stands up saying he's never seen such an amazing healer. He takes the coins he has and gives them to Zenos, saying he will remember him. After that, he realizes he can make some money this way and decides to open a healing clinic. But since he's from the slum, he won't be able to get a license, so he'll have to work clandestinely. And Lily offers to help with the clinic. She says she's his slave, so it's her duty to help Zenos. She asks if it means nothing to Zenos, and he asks her not to say such things. He agrees, but only until he finds a good place for her. The girl gets all happy and says she'll take good care of him. They walk through the abandoned city and find an abandoned house in good condition to have the clinic. The girl is afraid of encountering a specter. If they encounter this monster, they're doomed. Specters are powerful undead that look like people, but just by touching a person, they take their life and turn you into a ghost. The two enter the house and Lily casts a light spell and the house is in ruins, but Zenos says that just a bit of cleaning and it will be livable. A specter appears and Lily is terrified. Zenos remains calm and casts a spell on the specter, saying that he has already defeated more than 100 of these monsters. When Ashton was in a bad mood, he sent him to the depths of the labyrinth and Zenos encountered many specters there. He discovered that the undead are weak against healing magic. He asked the specter to keep part of the house, and the monster immediately tells him to give up his own life. It charges at him, but he casts the healing magic again. She says that no mortal has ever made the queen of the specters, Carmilla, so enraged. She gathers her servants and orders them to attack the two. Zenos hoped to resolve things peacefully, but he casts a high-level healing spell and dispels all of Carmilla's servants. She asks who he is, and Zenos says he is just an underground healer. He only asks for a place to treat people and another to sleep. She allows him the first floor, but the second floor is hers. The next day, everything is set up, and the place starts to look like a real clinic. Lily offers to go out and promote the place, but Zenos fears that the royal hospital will keep an eye on them. Lily says that without promotion, there won't be any patients, but Zenos replies that sooner or later people will show up. Then a man appears and Lily welcomes him. It's the man whose arm Zenos healed. Zenos knew the man would show up because people with bullet wounds would have a good reason not to seek a regular hospital. He says his name is Zond and asks to look at his older sister. She mentioned that her arm became strange after being shot, and he says it must have been a poisonous magical bullet. The bullet is decomposing her body while it's lodged inside. Zenos charges $1 million to amputate her rotten arm. She says her name is Sophia the Tornado and asks if he's sure about that price. She is one of the 3 major bosses who control the slums. She steals from corrupt merchants and gives part of it to the poor. He asked for $1 million yen to amputate an arm. She asks for a justification for this absurd price. He says he's not just going to cut off her arm, he's going to rebuild a new one, and he won't work for free. And he doesn't care if she's important in the slum or the king himself, he wants to be paid for the job of regenerating her arm. She says that no healer can do that, but he's an underground healer, so he doesn't follow the standards. He takes a scalpel made of mana and begins the work of amputating and reconstructing another arm. He restored her entire arm, and the specter appears and says it was hoping for her death, to take Zofia's life. Zenos says it's all good, that she's cool. Zofia bursts out laughing and says that Zenos is hilarious, she likes him, and that now he will take care of her subordinates. Lily makes some tea for Zenos and receives a bit of affection. Lily says that after Zofia appeared, many other patients also showed up. Carmilla finds it boring that no patient has died. Lily asks Zenos why the lizard men always get injured, and he says it's because of faction fights, as there are 3 semi-human factions in the slums: lizard men, orcs, and werewolves. Linga, the leader of the werewolves in the slum, shows up at Zenos' clinic. Linga the tyrant controls the illegal games in the underworld. He says that the working hours are over, but if it's urgent, he will examine. She says the emergency is Zenos because they are fighting with Zofia's lizards, but due to his healing, they keep showing up. She praises Zenos, saying he is a great healer, but he replies that he doesn't even have a license for that. Then she says she will need to kill him and that no one will heal Zofia's men. And so she defeats Zofia. Linga tries to strike Zenos with an axe, but he easily defends as if with a barrier. Lily runs to the back on Zenos' command. All the werewolves attack Zenos, but they don't even scratch him. The creature is overpowered and doesn't even know it. She orders the werewolves to bring the place down, but the specters appear, ready to obliterate the werewolves. Zenos intervenes, saying that the floor there belongs to him. Linga sees that the specter obeyed him and apologizes. She orders everyone to kneel before Zenos. The next day, an orc appears at the clinic saying that Louis, the orc chief, is calling for Zenos. Zenos tells Lily that he imagined that after dealing with the lizardmen and werewolves, the next would be the orcs. The leader of the orcs is wealthy and made a fortune excavating mana stones. It's only been a month since he opened the clinic and he's already had to deal with all the factions of the slums. He asks the orc if his chief is easygoing, and the orc says that she is wise and dignified. Zenos hopes that the orc is right. Zofia has been leaving gifts every day, and Linga is helping to build another place to make up for the mess she made. Zenos thinks that if the orc chief is easygoing, he won't have to worry. He asks the orc why she didn't come in person, and the orc says that because lizardmen and werewolves frequent the place, it's not safe for Louis. He asks if the situation is serious, and the orc says that she cannot move. Zenos puts on the cloak and follows the orc to the place where Louis is. Zenos arrives and finds Louis sitting on the throne, and he introduces himself to her. He asks her how she knows about him, and she says that he is famous in the underworld of the slums. The lizardmen and werewolves praise him a lot, saying he is an incredible healer. So she became furious upon learning this and decided to investigate. She says that he can heal anything depending on the price paid, and he replies that he doesn't work for free. She cannot move and asks why. Then he approaches and examines her. Louis mistook the mana stone for a rice cake and ended up eating it. And the stone is enchanted with an explosion, so it will explode in her stomach at any moment if she moves. She wants to donate her wealth to Zenos, and when the stone detonates, it will be the end of the orcs in the slum. She heard that while Zenos charges a high price for cures, he also examines and heals children for free, and she also likes children. She throws the treasure key to him, and he asks if it hasn't been long since she ate the mana stone. She says yes, and he takes the scalpel, tells her to stay still, and removes the stone from her stomach. Then he explodes the mana stone with his own hands and doesn't suffer a scratch. He returns the treasure key to her, and she says that if he had kept quiet, he could have kept all her fortune, but he says that he charges a price equal to the amount of work he has to do, and that the treasure would be too much value for what he did. Louis starts laughing and says she loves Zenos, and that she will always help whenever he needs. He says he doesn't need it, but she offers 24-hour security at his clinic. He insists that she shouldn't do that. Back at home, Lily says that Zofia, Linga, and Louis have been showing up a lot in recent days. Zenos agrees with her and says that Zofia appears on the day of the moon, Linga on the day of water, and Louis on the day of gold. The 3 of them show up there and aren't even injured. Lily asks if Zenos has any idea what they want, and our protagonist is either vegan or really clueless. He concludes that they have a lot of free time, but Lily knows the true intention of the 3. Carmilla says that they are definitely in love with Zenos, and he tells Carmilla that this is ridiculous and has nothing to do with it because he is an unlicensed shadow healer, but Carmilla says that her eyes do not deceive her and neither does her 300 years of experience. Lily says she's worried because they are beautiful, but Zenos says they are quite problematic on the inside. Carmilla says it's only a matter of time before the three factions go to war because of Zenos. Carmilla says that Lily is beautiful and she thanks her. Zenos starts to wonder if the three leaders are really fighting over him, but he finds this very ridiculous. Zofia appears with a basket of fruits and says she wants to go to war with the other factions and asks Zenos if he would side with the swamp men. Lily also thinks there will be a conflict to see who gets to keep Zenos. Linga arrives saying it's time to fight and for him to side with the werewolves. Lastly, Louis also arrives with food and talks about war. Zenos is now loaded with food and says the war should start soon. Carmilla celebrates the total war between the three factions and many will die because Zenos is a womanizer. Lily is visibly upset about this, and at noon, the three leaders meet in a sort of coliseum. Zenos appears but says he's not there to stop the fight, and that he knows they harbor resentments from years of conflict, and he even encourages them to fight until they're satisfied. Zofia says to go all out, and whoever survives will get the protagonist, and the other two agree. Lily asks Zenos if this is true, but he says he hasn't promised anything to anyone. Zofia swings a sword towards Linga, and she narrowly dodges it. Louis launches a flying kick at Zofia, but she also manages to dodge and counterattacks Louis, throwing her far away. Linga swings an axe at Zofia, who defends with her swords. Out of nowhere, Louis appears from above and slams into the ground, almost crushing both of them. The leaders start attacking each other's subordinates, and the battle begins to intensify. Lily is horrified by this, and one of the lizard men says he doesn't understand why, even after landing so many hits, the enemies keep getting back up. Zofia also notices that her wounds have just healed. Zenos says he won't stop the fight, but they are his patients, and when they are injured, he will heal them because he is the shadow healer. They finally realize that Zenos is just doing his job, and Linga says she has never seen a healer heal so much. Louis says that this way the fight will never end, and Zenos replies that that's exactly it, the fight will have no end. And he asks if they want to continue, because if he wants, he will accompany them and charge a lot for the healing. The three then decide to stop this senseless war and say they will now only fight for Zenos' heart. Lily says that Zenos is very popular with the girls and asks why Zenos did this by healing everyone. And he replies that his mentor taught him that a healer is third-rate if they only heal wounds, second-rate if they heal and comfort, and first-rate if they make the world a better place. He asks what his mentor was like and he says she was strange but impressive. Zenos says that even though he might be third-rate, he wants to improve things in the slum. Lily thinks that's really cool and says she likes Zenos. He also says he likes her, but she says it's not in the way he's thinking. He asks in what way then, and she tells him to let it go. He says it's time to get paid and go home. The division commander appears and says he was waiting for Vice Commander Krishna. She asks why the summons, and if something happened. And the commander says he heard some troubling rumors. She asks what rumors, and he says that the conflict among the semi-humans in the slum has calmed down a lot. She says it's hard to believe that after so many years things suddenly calmed down. The commander says that this cannot be ignored and that the kingdom of Reset thrived with the hierarchical system and the royalty at the top, and that the citizens take out their frustrations on the poor, and the poor vent their frustrations by fighting among themselves. And that's what maintains the balance of the kingdom. He says that if the poor unite, they could pose a risk to the aristocracy, and the vice commander asks if they would even pose a risk to the ruling class. And the commander says yes. The commander says that another party mediated between the races, and Krishna thinks this is even more unlikely, and that she can't imagine a person who could control them. The commander thinks the same but says he can't ignore the rumors. Krishna says she will resolve the situation and he says he is counting on her. Zenos sneezes, and the three become overly protective of him. Lily gets upset and goes to make some coffee. He says he's trying to heal someone and asks them to be quiet. Lily returns with the coffee and mentions that it's been a while since Zofia needed healing. Zofia says she got this injury while working. Zenos says she is a thief. She says she is selective with her targets, but yes, she is a thief, and that the Royal Order of Knights is keeping an eye on her. Zenos says he has seen both of them with injured arms before and asks if it was the Royal Knights who did that. And Zofia confirms that yes, it was them who did it. One of them caught her when she was breaking into an aristocrat's mansion. Zenos asks who this woman is, and Zofia says she is the vice commander known as the Iron Rose. Carmilla appears and says it would be a huge problem to attract her attention. The three races are now in harmony, drinking and celebrating together. The vice commander sees this and can hardly believe she is really in the slums. She encounters a lizardman and asks him what happened, that the three races are getting along. The lizard says he doesn't know the woman and that whoever did this doesn't want to attract attention. The vice commander threatens the lizard to tell her who the mediator is, but the lizard is willing to take a bullet and isn't a snitch. The lizard sees Zofia and shouts for the boss. The vice commander runs, finding it strange that the two no longer have injuries. Zenos doesn't know why, but he's covered in goosebumps, and the vice commander enters Zenos' clinic and asks him for information, saying she ended up in the abandoned part of the city. Lily arrives and asks if they have a patient, and Zenos says no, she's just lost. But the vice commander quickly realizes that it was he who healed Zofia and her brother, and shoots Zenos. If you like anime and anime summaries, leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next video.